Greens family, welcome to Pan-Africanism towards Nationhood, building a global black business pipeline. And you're here with Bomani Tyehimba and Kala Genesis. Greetings, my brother Kala. Greetings, how are
Greetings,
you?
brother Bomani. Greetings, brother. Glad to be here, brother. Black Power.
Yes, Kala, yes. Tonight, we're going to get into it on another incredible topic. And tonight's topic, family, is Pan-Africanist brain trust instead of Western ideology for democracy in Africa. Afrikstan Analysis with Kala Genesis and Bomani Tyehimba. So yes, family, if you're all about Pan-Africanism, Black Power, nation building, you're at the right place. If you're looking to troll and hate, you may as well go somewhere else. But that's it right there, family. The big banner, Pan-Africanism towards nationhood. And as you see with our thumbnail, we have a lot of our logos up there, and we're letting people know that we're professional business people and we're connecting a movement together. And so, family, before we get into this topic, I want to share with you our next journey of a lifetime because we're getting ready to leave for Tanzania, literally November 17th.
1 month.
Yes, so I'm always telling people, we get on these shows late because throughout the whole day we're working, we're working, daytime shift, and now we're here on the late night shift. We're putting in that overtime.
Yep.
You know what I mean, family? So we're here to share
All
with
for
you
you.
good, positive stuff. And we're also encouraging our brothers and sisters to keep it positive and cut back with all of the negative foolishness that we've been seeing going around. We're not going to build any black movement with that energy. And that is it right there, family. And that is November. That is it. And we are, and that is so that was literally all right. So let me switch back and stop, and let me work on the one I need to work on and load it up. Tanzania, the journey of a lifetime. So family, that was our first Tanzania journey. We did another one last year, 2021, and now this is for 2022 and 2023. And what we have is a whole list of videos over the last few journeys to literally connect with you. That way you can see all of the highlights. And it's nothing like, seeing is believing, brother.
Yep.
There it is right there. November 17th to the 28th, 2022, and then November 16th to the 27th, 2023. So this is a journey over the last few years. We have had about groups of 13, 15, and 15. So that's 3 straight years, November 2020, 2021, and now 2022. And then we're telling you, family, if you miss out on this journey and you want to connect with us, get ready for the following year. And all the details are already on our website at africafortheafricans.org. And this is an incredible journey where we're doing 4 days in Arusha, 3 days on Dar es Salaam, and then 3 days also on Zanzibar Island. So you have a little bit of everything. You have the city, you have the tropical island getaway, and also you have the nice beautiful city in the mountains. We have from arts and culture, roots and culture, to a whole lot of shopping, networking, national parks, also taking a boat out, enjoying paradise. You can get your snorkeling on, jet ski. You can go visit all these historical towns. And I'm telling you, family, this is the kind of journeys that we put together so we can just give you that real experience in Africa. And we're going to talk about the one that we built for Liberia and get more into that as we go along with our conversation, and as me and Kala always looking to do, because we're working on Angola and Liberia, future movements. So we're not just here telling you about what we're doing now. We're also here getting you ready for the future. So again, family, there's Tanzania information, and even when you're on our YouTube page, or once you click on the Tanzania playlist, you'll see a full scope of what we've done the last 2 years, and it only gets better. So that is that magical journey, brother. And talking about magical journey,
I would like to say, what I'm seeing now is like the movement has been taken over, hijacked by YouTubers and stuff like that. They go into the continent and they're pontificating and everything like that. But what I'm seeing is people going over there on an individual basis. More power to them, right? But they forget the whole mission of this whole movement is Pan-African towards nationhood, nation building. Nation building starts with the family, the individual, the man, woman, and child, the family, the extended family, and through your schools, through your cultural centers, and your religious institutions, you build communities, okay? And then once you have a social cohesion, you could build an economic cohesion, right? Because let me tell you something. We could talk all the stuff we want, right? But without a social construct, right? It starts with the family, it starts with friends, family, and social bonding. That's why these tours are so important. When you go on a bond with somebody and you're overseas, and even when you go back to work, right? You're never gonna forget the connection you had with that. You're gonna try to relive it. Oh yeah, I remember we were down there and Bomani was getting deep, and everybody was like, we was down on the river and everything. It's a life-changing experience. Let me tell you something, folks, right? And I'm gonna tell you something about me. A lot of stuff that I reason why I am today is because I remember those trips we used to take in our church. We used to be on trailway buses and stuff like this. We go to different churches, everything, and just seeing people together, working together. You had elders and everything would steer the kids this way, and people would usher people in. And then we go to parks. I'll never forget. We used to go to places like Anthony Wayne Park. You ever heard Anthony Wayne Park in upstate New York? It's right
No.
there. It's off the Palisades, beautiful, off the Palisades Parkway. When you're out there with your own people and you got the beautiful girls, life-changing experience. And one thing that a lot of groups like Daddy Grace and all these other people used to do is like they would go on trips like Sag Harbor, Long Island. And when people are together and they bond together, right? And they're like, because it creates like a paradise, right? And then in your mind, you're thinking, geez, how can we make this forever? And that's what the thing with me was, man, I'm having so much fun around my people and everything. We're building and everything. But the real world is we can never manifest that because we got to go work in the white man's world. We got to go work in the white man's world. Some people basically drop out of that right world and they misguidedly go through, okay, and they form their own cults and everything. They end up failing. What we're trying to say is this: that feeling that you feel when you're around your own people and you feel like, wow, this is my people, this is my nation, and that togetherness, you cannot basically replace that with anything in the world. You cannot replace that with $1 million in the bank. That feeling that everybody around you feels what you feel or coming from the same place you're coming from, and that sense of togetherness, right, creates that sense of nationhood, that sense of togetherness. That's how nations are formed, right? When people feel like they're together, okay? And you have to have that sort of experience. I don't trust anybody who's never been on any sort of pilgrimage or any sort of large gathering with Black people and everything, and it come out positive, If you are on Black people all the time, right, and you keep saying stuff like, I don't like being around a lot of Black people, something might drop off, then you're not a nationalist,
Yeah.
You're not a nationalist, because the bottom line is that those type of people who are going to the continent, who are trying to get away from Black America, who are never going to find peace in Africa. They're never going to find peace. You're always going to find peace on people who are just like you, who have the same experience. That's why it's so important when you go to the continent that you connect with your people. Doesn't mean you separate from the local people, but but if you are with a group of people that you guys came from the same circumstances, and you're now in a new place, it's important for you to build together with those people. If you cannot build with those people, then there's something fundamentally wrong. And this is what I'm seeing right now in the African continent, right? I see people, they go over there and they're just in their own little, I'm just here, I don't talk to nobody and everything. And so therefore they never had that experience of having a communion, having a positive communion with their own people. And so when they go to Africa, they're like, oh, I'm just going to be doing, and then they're failing. They end up, I'm going back to America. Why are you coming back? Where's the community over there? Where's your connections? Well, I ran into some problems over there, money issues. How come you guys don't have a general fund? How come you guys don't have a susu? How come you guys aren't talking together? How come you guys aren't being straight with each other about each other's financial situation, about health status, about all these other things that you say you want to leave the continent for? That's because you're not building together. Building together takes hard work. It takes you sacrificing. It takes you basically giving something up. And also, let me tell you something, folks. It also takes you risking being vulnerable. It's just like when you basically want to meet a new girl or new man or whatever like that, right? And you don't know how to tell that person you like them, right? The ultimate risk is you tell that person and you might get hurt, you might get rejected. The same thing what happens with these Pan-African movements, right? It might not work out, but it has to be like you work together. And that's what other communities have mastered. You're not going to always like each other. You're not always going to get along, but you got to have some sort of cohesion where you feel like you're together and you're in it together. And that's how movements work. That's how when the time comes to make major decisions, you can jump on the same page. Okay, yeah, we know this is what we need. This is what we need to build. Or let's say you speak as one voice in that local community that you are in. And so when you speak as one voice, you're going to be heard. But if you're not on the same page and this initial arises or whatever, and you don't have a consensus, you can't have a mandate. And so this is what's important. Why we stress nation building. Nation building is not individualistic; it's collective. You got to become a nation. You have to basically choose who's going to represent you, who's going to be your leaders, who's going to speak for you, who's going to speak for the group. Who's going to be the guardians. See, other groups of people when they come to America, they have all that set up. Do you think the Chinese come here? No, they got social clubs already arranged. You don't have tens of thousands of Chinese live in one area and there's no social clubs. They call them social clubs. They eventually turn into triads and gangs and all that stuff like that. But for the most part, they're social clubs. Young men and women belong to them. It's basically a tributary system. Well, this man is the boss of this neighborhood right here. You got to report into him. If you need something, he's going to help you out. You get into trouble, these people can help you out. And so therefore, when you go to a foreign land, another land and everything, we have to have that same sort of situation. It's not about just going over there as an individual. It's going over there as a group and knowing how to work together as a group. But our people are so arrogant and so I can't, don't tell me nothing. I'm on my own, whatever. And they don't want to work together. That's why we fall prey to scams. You fall prey to failure and disappointment and outright abuse sometimes because you're not together. Okay. Our topic tonight is the Pan-African Brain Trust. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, Colin. Before I get into it, let me just close out on this one last thing here. And there's some quick updates, and I just want to make sure people are clear about these schedules. That family got a whole lot of countries on the schedule. So at the very bottom of the screen, what you see, it lists all the countries that we're traveling to: Liberia, Rwanda, Senegal, the Gambia, Tanzania, South Africa, and Ghana. So that's my number right there for you to text me your information. Just text your information, the tour of interest, your email address, and I'll send you some information, or just text your name and number and this some level of information, and then we'll communicate back. That way I know that you're a real person, you're not a robot, because nowadays we're dealing with spam calls on your phone and all kind of things,
Right.
and trolls and haters. When you reach out to us, family, just take your time and make sure that you go to our website, africafortheafricans.org, and take a look at the details, process it, look it over, and reach out to me, and we can talk. And then we'll get you on one of these journeys. We like to deal with serious people because this is a serious movement. So, and then when you take a look at what's online, from whether it's a Facebook, the YouTube, the Twitter, or the Instagram page, well, not really the Twitter, but the Instagram page, you just got a whole lot of photos and videos of all these different countries. And the new countries like Liberia and Rwanda, once we get there, we'll have more documentation and we'll share with you more. But as Kala was talking about, these journeys are journeys that you're connecting with your own brothers and sisters, and you're forming a bond. And these are journeys where you can now connect with people with ideal mindset to live and do business in Africa, or just work together to do things here in America. It creates that cohesiveness and that connection. So it's more than just a roots and culture journey, a history, nightlife, shopping, networking, business conference, and things like that. It's us connecting on all levels, and not just us connecting to Africa, us connecting with each other from the Americas, because almost every one of us that's traveling on these journeys mainly from right here in North America, majority, at least 90%. Whether you're from somewhere else. So it's an energy with those of us in this big country or this big part of the world, to where we can connect more with each other, because so much of us live in so many different regions, but we do have a heavy concentration, northeast and southeast, but we're still spread out, because even the coast I just talked about, it's like, you're talking about a whole bunch of different states. So family, these are that journey of how we've been able to build that momentum to where we have a Black Star Pan-African community, which is the next thing I want to just share and just go through, and then we're going to get right into the subject of it, family, because Kala is ready to set the place on fire. You know what I mean? But what we always talk about is community. So the same thing, this information is all on our website, africaforafricans.org. It's not something I spend a lot of time talking about unless we're doing a specific presentation for the community, which I do a conference call once a month, and then specifically do another one separate for the tours. But while we're talking on this program, we're just running the details at the bottom, because we're here to talk about the business and the things that we're actually practically doing. We're not just here to just bring up Pan-African subjects. Also here to let you know that we're connected in that incredible world. And as you know, when me and Kala finally hit Liberia and come back and show you, I'm like, what? They were talking about it, they were planning on it, and they delivered. And that's exactly how we have been doing right here with this beautiful Black Star Pan-African community. And we're at the point where, we have land, and the land is ready for you to build. We have other people building. We have private meetings, public meetings, and we have a whole list of documentation from houses going up from the ground up. We literally just have carved something to where when you're on our YouTube channel, you'll literally just see, and later on, if we have some time, I'll show you. But once you're on YouTube, there's a Black Star Pan-African community playlist. It's over 100+ videos, and you literally seen all the times that we visited the land, from the time the land was just all just trees and everything, to us clearing it, us marking it off, us creating, from bulldozing dirt roads. And it's just a foundation, just a start. Even the last set of ones where we'd actually show you our office, from our office just being just empty to where, you're eventually going to see the office being built up. Just like when you come here, it's a full-fledged high-tech office. But, the one in Ghana will have the same. And so when people want to come and talk about their land, or want to find out about how to get more land and do anything, they can also be there. And we're just running it like a high-tech operation, just like here when you pull up to the property and you have your leasing center, then you have your business center, you have your community center, and things like that. I pull up to one around this era earlier, and I was like, and I saw the vision. I was like, that's what we're gonna be, man. We're gonna be able to just get to that level, But it's like, the good thing is we have a good start. So that's what I'm telling you, family. If we making these moves together, and we sticking together, and we're working things together, that's the only way we're gonna get it accomplished. If we're gonna keep joining groups, and every minute we join groups, and someone else put all the work in, and then we're supposed to work it together, and then everyone just quit and change their minds, or don't show up to meeting, don't pay dues, things like that, then you're not gonna build an effective community. So that's what I tell all of our people that are interested. I was like, are you really gonna be about community, or are you gonna be an individual that's gonna cause this thing to fall apart? So, we're not desperate for people looking for the best of our people. And we're looking for people who are going to give a lifetime commitment, because the things that we look to build and develop in Africa, it takes serious work. It's not something that we can just accomplish over a small period of time. And so we look at ourselves as the pioneers. And this is a small brochure. And since this time, like even this house right here has a wall up on it, and it looks, and then this one below is finished. So, but this is the paperwork. This is the documentation and the conversation, and the information go way beyond this brochure. Like I mentioned to you, family, all of our information that deal with tours and investment is on our website, africaforafricans.org. And later on, I'm going to put up the information. Kala going to talk more about join the social network, and we're going to talk more about Liberia also. But so, family, let me get us back on our main program, and let me just tell you once again, family, the links are down at the bottom, the phone number and the website, so do communicate, show interest, and please, let's be respectful with each other time. I'm not going to waste your time and be disrespectful. Please don't waste our time and be disrespectful. I got number love from my brothers and sisters. All the business that we ever created were business to do business with Black people, and that's how we building a family. All the way up, all the way strong. Yes, Kala, I know you're ready, man. You're on fire, man. I've been watching
Yeah.
a few of your videos also, Kala, on a few different channels on YouTube, without calling any names and everything. And you're always this like incredible controversial figure that
Yeah.
me personally, I got nothing but love and respect for you, man. You know, you're my brother, man, and I'm all about that fight, man. And you know, we need warriors like you, man. And that's why I always commend you on just your passion of just making yourself available to come and communicate with people. But I honestly, personally, don't feel like people are giving you the respect and love that you deserve and that you have earned as a scholar, as a person who just have been very supportive to a lot of Black organizations, and then also making your way to Africa and building that movement to where you got chapters going different places and things. So wanted to just start by, even before we get into this topic, for you to talk about the brand itself, the Black African Infrastructure Organization, how it was started, the mission,
Okay.
the vision, and how it's gonna work together to build Pan-Africanism towards nationhood.
Well, the reason why I founded this with, as you know, holism, and a couple other people back in it was like 2014, 2015. Even though we went our separate ways and everything like that. I wish these guys nothing but the best. They still believe in the BAO, or we fundamentally have differences and everything like that, right? The problem was we came to the conclusion, right? We're both Generation X's, right? That a lot of stuff that we heard before, like you was telling, it clicked to me the other day when you told me that the people that were talking about reparations, not to throw people under the bus and Cobra and like that, but sometimes people, we have to tell the truth, right? And I want us to be frank and tell the truth without somebody saying, Kala, man, Bomani's dissing and Cobra and all. No, it's not that. But sometimes our people sometimes need that reality check. The same thing you saw. You went to do your thing, right? And the same people like 20, 30 years ago are still talking about the same thing and they have not made any progress, okay? And I'm going to say something very frank tonight, right? We have way too many organizations that want us to drag us into the 1960s and talk the same thing. And they always come around during a time where there's a police shooting and all stuff like that. And they basically beat Black people over the head for not listening to their rhetoric, which basically has not evolved for the time. The BAO was going to be this futuristic organization, right? We looked at the core things that when it comes to nation building, right? One is a man, woman, and child. Okay, and then you need infrastructure. You need institutions. Okay, and then to take it to the next level, you need laws. Now, how can you pass laws? And we said, okay, well, we could do this. We thought about it. Said, yeah, we could build. They said, then we thought about it, right? And I said, you know something? This is very a crazy idea. What if we talked about government? We talked about all this stuff like this. What type of government we would have? What type of stuff like that? But we never talked about where this government would be. And so to say, yes, you know something, I guess we could move to the southern part of Georgia. I guess we could find some land in North Carolina. I guess we could move to Texas and everything. And then it dawned on me, right? At the time, I was watching. I've known about all the stuff for years, but I never shared this with the other people, right? I said, you know something? They're building smart cities now, right? And I started studying the idea of a geopolitical entity, a smart city, it's a nation state. What is a nation state? What is a state? What is a government? And then it dawned on me, right? A nation basically controls, for the most part, 90 to 100% of everything that goes on in it. That's how an economy is created. That's how a social structure is created. The problems we have in America is that we are a minority group, right? In a majority white country, right? All these things you see Black people talk about. Oh, we need to love ourselves. We need Black businesses. We need this. Everything that they tell you at all time is you want a nation of your own. We want a Black television network. We want Black this. We want Black entertainment. We want Black festivals, Black holidays, Black this. And then it dawned on me. It dawned on us, right? Wouldn't basically, what's the only thing stopping you from that? Well, we're in America. Well, what if we had a nation state of our own on the continent of our ancestors, right? Then we could build the infrastructure. We have land, right? You have infrastructure. You build the infrastructure up. That's the government, the roads, everything like that. And then you have nationhood. Nationhood decides what holidays, what monuments, what things are named, what streets are named, everything. You're in your own environment. Now, some people say, how are you going to take 40 million people? Well, we said we don't need 40 million people. We always said we estimate if we can get between 2 to 5% of the right type of Black people organized for this mission, we can accomplish that. Why? And they said, well, what does that do? It's all psych. See, you gotta say something. 90% of this is all mental and psychological. Okay. Black people in America, the reason why we're beaten down is because we feel like we have no outlet. We have no choice. Right? We just say, okay, white people, everybody shits on us and everything. We have nothing to do about it. We say the Democratic Party ain't treating us right. Republicans are racist, whatever like that. We can't do nothing about it. We got Black crime in the community and everything like that. The images that we see of ourselves in the mainstream media bothers us, okay? They always misrepresent, show us as gangs, thugs, and all stuff like this. And we're saying, why is it that then this another thing when I was talking earlier about going to Anthony Wayne Park when I was a kid and everything, beauty of being around young people, seeing these beautiful girls and everything, and you think, man, this is heaven, right? When Black people see positive images of themselves in media, they get all, yes, that was a beautiful movie. A movie that I like, kind of like, was this movie called Almost Christmas that came out. I went to see my girlfriend back in 2016, 17 with Danny Glover and Gabrielle Union and everything. Even though I don't like Gabrielle Union at all, but it was a beautiful movie, right? And then when Black people see these type of movies, like, wow, man, I wish Black life like that was all the time, right? There's a constant battle. Why is it that Black people say they want to see these images, these positive images of themselves, right? But the people that control the media, the people that pick the worst about us to represent us. We have movies, TV shows like The Godfather Harlem, you know? We have it's imbalance. The universe requires balance, right? White people have The Sopranos, right? But they also have something like Friends, you know? When you see white movies and whatnot, Black people see these images of white people living these perfect lives in suburbia. He's a writer, she's a lawyer and everything, and they're going out and they're having this like this with their friends and everything. Black people imagine that sort of life. So therefore, you got Tyler Perry tries to give Black people these images of positivity and that sort of life and everything. But Black people are like this. On the other hand, people feel guilty because like that's not the real Black America. The real Black America is the Power series. The real Black America is what you see on World Star Hip Hop. So we're living in a world where we want to live this good life. We want to have this thing for our children. We don't want to be talking about gangs and crime. We're sick and tired of dealing with racism. We're sick and tired of dealing with white people on that level. We're sick and tired of all that. We want to build our community. We want Black men and Black women to love each other again and build it. And the only place we concluded that we can do this is in a land and a nation of our own. Now we say, does all Black people go there? No. But if that nation becomes the citadel, the representation of what Black America ought to be, that's why when we say Afrikstan, yes, primarily it's an African American, African diaspora people state, right? Doesn't mean we exclude anybody else outright, but we have to have that one state that basically is just like the Jews have a Jewish state, right? Which all the Jews communities around the world are patterned after the state of Israel. The Jews in America pattern themselves on the state of Israel. Israel is where they can really be a Jew. You know, the Islamic world is where Arabs could be, Muslims could be Muslims. Okay, you know, so therefore, we as Black people in America, we are what the white people dominant media tells us we are. I remember I was watching this thing where this girl was talking about the producer of the TV series Godfather with Forrest Whitaker is an Asian girl, right? And she was up there talking about, well, this is how we do it. They study us enough. They think we're stupid, right? They're never going to get the support of the Kala Genesis. I never watched the series, right? They had Bumpy Johnson, right? But then they had Malcolm X. So the girl's like, see, we got the gangster angle, and then we got the Black militant angle and everything like that, selling us nonsense and everything. So therefore, what I'm trying to say is this. when are we going to have a place where we decide what images our people see? But what comes on the television, everything like that, is through our censorship and everything like that. Because every other group of people around the world have that ability. In Japan, what gets played on Japanese TV goes through an intensive screening process before it gets played on Japanese television. Why? Because they have control over the mind and the media and what the people, the average Japanese, see. They understand the self-image of the Japanese people are important. So therefore, certain things are not going to be shown. Do you think the Japanese are going to be shown a war image of them butchering Chinese? No. It's going to be talked about, but it's going to be done proportionally. Black people in America, we don't have any balance, right? They keep showing us as slaves, getting whipped, killed, everything. But they rarely ever will show us this. People say, when are we going to have a movie on Malcolm X? When are we going to have a movie on Marcus Garvey? It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen because the white man is not interested in showing your history.
Perfect point, brother. Perfect point. And let me just connect on this point and just wave the topic, because I want to let people know that we're sticking with our topics also, but we kind of work our way in. So Kala, that was a perfect point, man, brother. Yes. So you want us to just read off the topic again?
Yeah.
Pan-Africanist brain trust. Yeah. Now break that down, and then break down the other part, which is Western ideology for democracy.
Okay.
So Kala is pushing the Pan-African brain trust, but then some of you may say, well, what is a brain trust? What is a Pan-African brain trust?
It means simply that when we talk about in Afrikstan, we talk about building a place where the best minds are about nation building. Okay,
legal family.
Let's say the best minds about nation building. The best minds, and let me give you an example. Right, a businessman, right, who wants to become a billionaire, right? He knows that, okay, I want to become a billionaire, but I have to do it the Pan-Africanist way. I have to do it the nation building way, right? That means that if I'm going to build something, right, I have to use supply chains. I have to do it in accordance of making sure that our nation is secure. That basically we're not going to have waste. We're not going to sabotage. We're not going to do all the stuff like that just to make a quick buck. That's what the Japanese have, Japanese corporations are very, very nationalistic, okay? It's Japan Inc. It's Japan Incorporated. You got Japanese corporations competing with each other, but when it comes to outsiders, they come together like you won't believe. They're called keiretsus. These are corporations that form like a war board. If another company tries to go against them, whatever like that, from outside Japan, they come together when not finance each other, give each other like that. That's what it means. Now, how can you do that, right? If you're not in a state of place where you see yourself as part of Japan. Japan is great because they're island people. So they have that outsiders, or everybody's outside. You're not Japanese, you're an outsider, okay? And also they have their own language and all stuff like this, national ideology. Black people in America, right, do not have that, right? Because our loyalties one is we're talking about, oh, we're all Americans. And then on the other hand, we're talking about, well, we need to build black business. We need to buy black. I saw another buy black ad today. When I'm saying, I'm like, okay, black people, we got $1.4 trillion. Yeah, but none of that money belongs to us. This is not our land. We got 1.4 trillion. No. They give you one for you generate that, right? But it goes right back to them because you are an internal colony. You generate money and it goes back into them.
My brother called it the internal colony.
You're an internal colony. They found out in the 1950s. They said, wait a minute here. Why are we going to the Philippines? We got Black America, right? They said in 1954, they said these people spent $25 billion. They said black people got money. They discovered that we had money back then, They're like, these people have a lot of money. We thought these people were poor. They had money. And so all these corporations are marketing to us and everything like that.
Getting to our needs and pumping the money out from us and building up their entities.
Build up their entities. So you have an imbalance there. Do you think they give a damn about black business? No. But in the nation state concept of the nation, let me tell you something, folks. When we talk about nation, we talk about infrastructure, right? Your businessman is a vital part of a central part of your nation. Okay. Your industrialist is a major part. Your trading companies, All these private sector things are a major arm of thing. Now, we've been taught a broken philosophy. Oh, black people, businessmen, they're the enemy. No, they're a harmonious part of your survival. The people that could do big transactions, big deals, everything like that, to basically give you goods and services right here, and make sure that the goods and services in your land is controlled by you and everything through your one bank and everything like that, your currency and everything. That's a vital part of it. So when people start talking about nationhood and everything and say, are you going to be capitalist? Of course we are. We need that. We need people that could basically do business with anybody that could produce goods and services for us, right? They're part of the nation, right? Just same way as a businessman that owns a corporation that manufactures car parts and food products and everything like that is just as important as a guy who basically is picking up trash on the street. They're all part of a harmonious system that functions together. It's all systematic, and so therefore you can never achieve this, right? If you basically give in to the whims of democracy. The worst thing people could ever do, right, is when you have some. I'm seeing now, right? I said always this. I said, Kala, you're very smart, right? But sometimes I get into temptation, right, where my anger overloads me, right? And I said, well, what if I wasn't balanced like this and bring myself back, right? What kind of nation would I be? Well, look at El Salvador. That's what happens when you don't think and you don't have a brain trust. From the top, the nation falls apart. That's what happens when you have Mexico. Mexico has 2 long coastlines, rich fishing grounds, iron, nickel, silver, gold, everything, oil, everything. But why is Mexico language of poverty? Because the mind. They don't have a brain trust. Okay? They have a so-called democracy and everything like that. But the way it has it systematically, it doesn't work. Okay? So therefore, this is essentially what I'm talking about. Okay, if you don't have the mind, the brain trust from the top to the bottom, where people and institutions are making decisions, right? Long-term decisions, like 100-year plan. We have a 100-year plan, and we have benchmarks, we have goals, and everything that all the people who decide to come into government are signatures to. Okay, we may say, okay, we may go here like this, or we may disagree about this part right here. But we're all on the same path, okay? You can only do that when you have a highly intelligent people running the show. And you cannot do that, right, when you have demagogues coming in, right, saying, misleading people for votes and everything. And what happens is people begin dumbing down their message to accommodate the masses, okay? That's what the problem is. And say what you want. I'm not a totalitarian. I'm not a dictator and everything like that. I'm just telling you the reality. For the first, I will say, 50 years, you're going to need that. And then gradually you enfranchise the masses on things that the state says, okay, we're ready to enfranchise them on that. They can vote for somebody that can decide that, right? But the vital strategic things of long-term, of dealing with foreign nations and dealing with the long-term growth of a country and feeding a country and making sure a country is protected, right, has to be concentrated in a certain brain trust, and that basically that everybody has faith in. And what I mean by brain trust is that we trust the decisions made by these institutions and these people are for the betterment of the nation. Now, for 400 years, I have never seen that in Black America. There's no thing. Why? Because we don't have any. We never had anybody with any power. We have black think tanks and everything, but what does a black think tank got to do? They got to go to the white man for approval. Like, we want reparations, but we got to go to the Senate and the government and everything. When you have a system where you have people on top that make the decisions, right, and the decisions become law, and becomes rules and regulations and public policy, right, then you get stuff done. Okay, this is what we're talking about tonight. Okay, we need a Pan-Africanist brain trust, right? Not only that, right? Extend the Pan-African community. When you extend the Pan-African brain trust, you have to have the sort of people that basically in other countries, right, that see the vision too. Now, it has a problem with the Pan-African community right here. And people say, man, look at the African Union as a joke. I could have told you that. I could have told you that. Everybody's all over the place. And we got leaders that sit in office for half their life and everything. And there's no real Pan-African movement on the African continent. It's a joke. Why? Because they don't have the brain trust. The people elected to them are illiterate, tribalists, everything. The most scariest thing is, to me, is not a nuclear bomb, but people who are literate go into a poll with a purple thing on their head to make a vote, picking a picture of who they like. And the people who they like is people who speak their language and can do the dance with them and everything. And you're going to elect that person that's going to have life and death decisions over your life and everything and the future. Can you understand how dangerous this is? So in other words, basically, you have to have a situation where we cannot be pressured, right? Lee Kuan Yew, he wasn't pressured by Westerners at Western style democracy. Paul Kagame is not being pressured by these people to talk about have Western style democracy. Where's Western style democracy gotten anybody outside the West? No place. We have Western style democracy in Honduras. Where they at? They're at our freaking border. We have Western style democracy in Venezuela. Where they at? They're coming up through Mexico, through our border. We have Western style democracy in Mexico. Where they at? In Texas. So don't tell me about Western style democracy. We have Western style democracy in Ghana and Nigeria. Where they're at? In the UK. So please don't tell me about Western style democracy. Western style democracy works for the West, right? It's hypocritical, but it has a thing. The West, basically, the people in the West have a high standard of living. They have all the money to wash away their sins. If these countries in the West, we've seen it before, have to live with that so-called democracy. You remember what happened with the Pittsburgh riots and everything, the steel riots in this country? Do you remember the wars in the Napa Valley in California and everything, where robber barons tried to take away land from farmers who worked the land and everything? They want to come and build railways and everything because some election poll got them their permission, and they shootouts and gun battles. Do you remember the OK Corral? Do you remember the Wild West? Do you remember how this country was built? Do you remember the Missouri the Missouri Compromise and the war, the Kansas-Nebraska wars and everything like that? Do you remember the Civil War? Okay, so this idea that democracy, we got to get out of this idea as having an election is going to solve everything. If the majority of people are wrong, right? There's an old saying, I'm trying to think of it right now, right? Frederick Douglass said, he goes, the majority is, just because you're the majority, don't necessarily make you right. And so therefore, a majority can be wrong. So if the majority is wrong, right, and then we have to live with the decisions of the majority, what good is that? So therefore, this idea of we're going to take people on both sides of the Atlantic who are highly tribalized, highly sectarian, and just have an election. Well, all the people have to do is see, this is what they do. Let's count up how many people in our tribe. Get them out to the polls and everything like that, and then we'll win. Well, you don't have no real platform. You have no real ideas and everything. But just because you have the numbers, right, you're going to hold office. And then the Western countries come in and say, yeah, they had an election and everything like that. Why? Because usually those people are doing the bidding of foreign companies and everything and continuing the status quo. And the people will say, well, geez, we elected this guy Biya in Cameroon for 40-something years, and our situation deteriorated. People won't vote against him. Why? Because he's their tribe. He's all they know. Same thing with Museveni in Uganda. So therefore, this is what we're talking about. When we talk about nation building and everything, I do believe, like Japan. Do you know that Japan didn't have its first, when it became a republic in what was it, 1876, I believe? It didn't have its first general election for almost 50 years. Japan waited till it got its railways, its trading companies, its manufacturing up and running. It made sure it had its shipping. It made sure it had a certain level of infrastructure in place, right? And then the people who did vote were the people men who own property and the men of well-being, right? And so they had the first general election. And so therefore it was like 50 years later, and the people were literate. They could read and write, and they could understand the politics and what they were voting for. Okay, and that was after 50 years of being a republic. They didn't say the Japanese weren't burning the street. We don't have a right to vote. What they knew was every time they looked around, a new railway line was being built, a new port was being built. Okay, they saw on through film reels and everything like that at the time that the country was making progress. You know, they saw their leaders are in the halls of government around the world acting on their well-being in their behalf. They saw that they had a growing army and navy, and they could defend themselves. So they said, since we basically could have we have all this, right? I guess everything must be working right. That's when you have the what we call like an intelligentsia, a brain trust, right? Of bureaucrats that are doing these things. Why? Because these people are very nationalistic. You know, you cannot have a situation like that where the brain trust is individualistic. They believe in globalism. They believe in all this other stuff and everything. And so therefore we have to have that conversation, right? Why is it that the people who represent us do not represent nationalistic thought process? They represent neoliberalism and globalism and all this stuff like this, right? And that's why, and it's like the people be damned. And so this is what we're talking about tonight. So
Yes, Kala. Now, you're broken. You're broken down a little bit of everything. Western ideology for democracy. You actually just went into it, but if you want to talk more into it, absolutely.
okay, yeah, okay. So what I'm trying to say is this, right? Every time I look around, right, there's two types of people that annoy me, right? Well, the people who basically will say, "Oh, we had an election, right?" All right, they'll say in Africa, "We had an election," we had an election, right? And they'll basically, on one hand, they're tribalists, right? They're tribalists. They, on one hand, curse everything about the West, everything. They blame the CIA for everything, everything. But when things go their way, oh, we had an election, so that makes it right. That makes it right. So you like everything when things go your way. Suddenly, oh yeah, we had an election. Let me tell you something. Democracy does not always mean voting. Democracy means rule by other people, right? It does not mean necessarily the people rule. It means we have what we call a representation democracy. That means that you have a republic. I believe in the idea of the republic, and people don't understand the difference between a democracy and a republic, right?
Break it down, brother. Break it down.
America is a republic. It's not a democracy. Okay, it's a republic with a democratic. Listen to the key word: a democratic process. Okay, just like people talk about justice. We don't have a justice system. We have a justice, of course, right, with a judicial what process. Okay, when you get arrested, right, you get what the law is the law, but is there like the due process of law? So in other words, as long as there's a process, right, it's justified. Okay, if when people get elected or government is elected, so long as there's a process that put them there, right, and the process through enfranchisement means the people elect the people to represent the republic. The republic acts as a machine. Okay, it has laws and institutions, and it's the final say over everything. People misconstrue like, oh, I don't like what's going on. Let me give you a perfect example, right? You got Democrats and Republicans running, right? They hate each other. But guess what? Well, in your state, let's say your state, right? You have a seatbelt law, right? You have Democrats and Republicans running for office, right? Guess what? They both agree that certain issues are not even up for negotiation. Let's say majority of people say, you know something, it's crazy paying a $500 fine for a seatbelt. The Republicans and Democrats say, yeah, but we're making a lot of money out of it, it saves lives and everything. Now, no politician is going to break from that and say, you know something, elect me. I'm a Democrat. I agree. Or elect me. Why? Because there's certain things that's on the table. When you get ready to have an election, they already decided what issues you're gonna run on and talk about. Certain issues are off the table. Let me tell you another issue that's off the table: reparations. Or reparations, as you say, you Negroes say reparations, I want my reparations, that is off the table. Okay, it's not politically feasible. It's off the table. No person, no politician, Democrat, Republican, are going to take that. That's a non-starter to begin with. People don't realize that. People think that they're going to use mob rule, right? They think this is democracy. We're going to campaign. We're going to get reparations. It doesn't work like that. Institutions have already decided what is going to be determined that people are going to vote for. Less than 50% of people ever turn to vote. Why? Because they know the system works. If people get their health care, the roads are being a thing, the schools and everything like that, right? Most people don't see the need to vote. Now, when you have a controversial issue on the hand, right? Now, let me give an example. Okay, let's say an issue like, let's say the LGBTQ stuff, and they're trying to push now, right? That's going to bring people out of the woodwork that would normally say, something, either way, Democrat, Republican, I don't mind. But if one party says, like the Democrat says, we're going to produce critical race theory or stuff like this, and one party says we're against that, right? Now you're going to bring more people out to the polls, more out to the polls. Why? Because there's an issue. There's not enough in a Black America issue on the table where Black people, one, can get enough people support outside the Black community to come out to support them on any particular issue. So basically, the Black vote is basically, if Black people, we were smart, since white people are divided on these issues down the middle for the most part, we could be the tie-breaking vote on any election. But we don't think like that. We push all our votes in the Democratic column, right? A column, and then we don't get anything out of it. And Democrats say thank you, and they give everybody else a thing. Because of you, Black people, you got a crack smoking son, Hunter Biden, up there living the life of Raleigh, living the white boy life of Raleigh, while you're out there don't know where your next meal's coming from. And this is what's going on. And so, like I said, and in Black America, more than anything, even before we have a nation, we need a brain trust in Black America. But we don't have a brain trust in Black America. Why? Because we do not choose who speaks on our behalf. Who chooses who speaks on our behalf? MSNBC, Fox News, all the media outlets and everything. They're like, hey, man, bro, you want to be a Black leader? Hey, okay. And nobody ever heard this dude. He's come out of nowhere. He said, here's some money. We're going to put a suit and tie on you, right? And you're a Reverend Chicken Wing. You came out of nowhere. And now we're going to invite you on this show. You're going to be on The View. We're going to give you around and everything like that, right? And then what happens is, let's say another police shooting, which they know is going to happen, right? We're going to make sure you're there. And we're going to give you a press conference. And you're going to be the spokesperson for the Black people. You're going to say everything they want to hear. And did I just not describe Benjamin Crump, right? This nigga came out of nowhere. He came out of the Trayvon Martin situation. And every time you look around, he's every place. This is what they do. So we don't have any real any brain trust that's sitting around talking. We have a lot of people that are smart in Black America, right? But the thing is, though, the media does not show that, right? And these people don't have any way of manifesting that stuff because, Black leaders are basically co-opted with the white agendas, the white liberal or the white conservative agenda on each side. So we don't have any brain trust in Black America, and when Black people have somebody that has a good idea like Ice Cube and everything, he said, yo, you guys, we heard Ice Cube, hey, you guys talk about you need this, you need jobs, you need economic infrastructure, invest in Black communities and everything. And he went to the Democrats, they rejected him. Donald Trump said, hey, let's talk about $500 billion, it's doable. And Black people got on Ice Cube and said, how dare you speak for us? So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't in Black America.
Yeah, brother. Unfortunately, man, it rolls like that sometimes, man. And I got 2 comments for you. If you want to tackle these comments, here's the first one.
and described a couple of countries he would consider to be a democracy. A democracy, I don't. There's no such thing as a democracy on earth. We have nation states called republics. Okay, and this is how people are uneducated in this country. America is not a democracy; it's a republic. And America is a constitutional republic. There's no such thing as a democracy. It's a democracy, really? When you go to your lodge or something like that, and they say, okay, they throw a bunch of things in a hat and say, something, we're gonna have the picnic at this park this year, or this park, or we're gonna have it at the bowling alley. Okay, I think we're gonna take a vote, and then on that level right there, you take a vote. Okay, the yeas have it and everything. That's a democracy, right? But when it comes to America, like, let me give you an example. In some states, they may have you may have put something on a ballot, yes or no, or whatever like that. Some states like California, you may have a ballot. Some of the ballot people, they may give you something to vote on. But for the most part, right, the legislations are crafted, right. A legislative process is meant to be slow and chaotic. People don't realize that. The legislative process, the founding fathers meant it to be slow and arduous, right? That you got to get this many persons. They knew it was almost impossible to get legislation passed, right? Because nobody's going to agree on everything. It has a lot of negotiations, Now, when some legislation passes real quick, you better ask yourself why question. Like the fugitive slave law. How did that pass so quick? When we know the legislative process is slow. Okay? So when they pass legislation fast, you're like, wow, so that's deliberate. So that right there has to be looked at. How did the fugitive slave law pass where there's bills that be sitting in Congress for years and they can't get to the floor. They can't get through the Ways and Means Committee. They can't get through the Budgetary Committee. They can't get to the floor for a vote. But yet something like the fugitive slave law got passed just like that. So like I said, we're not in a democracy, we're in a republic. The U.S. Senate is the most powerful legislative body on the planet. The most powerful. The decisions on the U.S. Senate affect every facet of the world. It affects everything. There's nothing in the U.S. The U.S. Senate puts sanctions on you, you're finished. Okay? They recommend sanctions. Very powerful, in that seat right there. They put sanctions on Zimbabwe. They can do anything. So the media is very, very important in doing that. Because sometimes they'll be like, this country is bad. And it's always black countries for the most part, or countries they don't like. There's sanctions on Cuba right now, the U.S. Senate, the U.S. Senate, So therefore, like I said, we are not living in a democracy. There's no such thing. I wish black people would stop saying that. There's no such thing as a democracy. We're a republic. Africa's a republic. And then also the other thing is, a lot of times black people, right, we go to Africa and we start imposing so-called democracy. Democracy at its core means majority rule. If you have people who don't share the same ethnic groups and they're suddenly put in this republic that they had no say-so in being, and you got people that now, if you're a republic, you got police power, you got subpoena power, you got judge power. You could basically crush your enemies and persecute. When you become a republic, right, and you're in office or president, you have a license to kill, basically. And this is why you have Burkina Faso and these countries keep having coups. Why? Because people keep thinking, we have democracy, we had an election. If we have an election, why is it that Africa is the only place that have election and we have coups? We have military coups. Why? Because these leaders in Africa have been going to the West. Oh, we have free and fair elections and all stuff like that, which we know they're rigged and everything. And they it's like, just like what happened in Museveni and Bobby Wine situation. He had the president Museveni had Bobby Wine arrested, and his followers arrested in jail. He blackened the social media, right? And then when it came down to it, right, they said, okay, we declared we won the election. They use election is just a validation of repression. Do you remember when Saddam Hussein had an election? Remember that? And he got 99.9% of the vote. And that one person didn't vote for him or not, that person was probably killed. Saddam said, I had an election and I got 99% of the vote. And nobody took that seriously because people said they're voting under duress. You know, no one wanted to be that person that took that voted for against Saddam Hussein. So therefore, like I said, going forward, right? Well, when we have these discussions, right, I want to hear more people talk about how do we build these Pan-African brain trusts. How do you basically get rid of an entrenched political system, right? That's funded by the West, right? That do their bidding under the guise of elections. People, Barack Obama, when he first got in office, went to Ghana. He praised Ghana as a place of having multiple changes of government and everything like that. This is when I thought Obama was smart. Okay. And we look at Ghana. Ghana has not really made that sort of progress. Oh, stable governments and everything like that. But people are complaining that their standard of living has not risen yet in Ghana. You know, but yet they had elections. You know, the people voted and everything. You got your guy in office and everything, but you're not happy. You're still complaining. And so therefore, that's because there's not a technocracy. There's not basically a power structure that basically decides this is how we're going to bring the country together. This is our 30-year plan. This is what we're going to do, and this is the way it's going to be. Because people in so-called democracies have unrealistic expectations. And with a brain trust, you know how to manage expectations. You can say, look, we're going to have to suffer for a generation. That's what the Asians did. Okay? Right after the Bandung conference, the Asians knew, look, we're coming out of the worst poverty, degradation the world's ever seen. So they say, okay, in 10 years, this is where we should be. And people say, okay, we can work towards that. So therefore, people's expectations were tempered. So therefore, that reflected in the movies they saw, the movies that were produced, the movies of contemporary times showed, oh, the husband's coming home because he has to work another job and he has to do this and everything like that, right? As society got better, right? The median images, like I said earlier, right, reflected the prosperity that was taking place. So it was measured. So you had society that was moving in a direction, right? And the media and popular culture did that. The same argument was talked about with the honeymooners, right? The honeymooners came out in the 1950s, right? And it aired in 56, wherever. And it was a beautiful show and everything. But by the time of the 1960s, nobody wanted to watch the honeymooners anymore. Why? Because America had basically got addicted to suburban life, prosperity and everything. They didn't want to see Ralph and thing. The honeymoon was really based on, if you really look at it, sort of like a 1930s, right? But in the 50s, it was good and everything. In Brooklyn, and he's working a job. They live in a cramped apartment and everything. But after a couple of seasons, people said, look, they're tired of that. They want to see more flashy stuff. That's why it shows like Doris Day and all this stuff in the 60s where people are living in Malibu. They want to see California. California themed movies became popular. Why? Because people had more money. They want that reflected in popular culture. Okay? The Honeymooners was good for a time period, right? But, you know, just like all the movies that were made in the 30s and the 40s were not selling in the 60s. People wanted to see Las Vegas. They wanted to see Disney. They wanted to see all the stuff, that exciting world that was going on around them. You know, why? Because they had reached a certain level. Okay? Same way in Black America. Okay? By the time the 1980s were around, Black people were ready for something like the Cosby Show. We didn't want to see Good Times anymore. We didn't want to see Sanford Son anymore. So the Cosby Show say, you know, Black America is changing. You know, Black America is changing. You know, so we have to keep up with the times. And then that's why you had Cosby Show. You had Different World. You had The Fresh Prince. You had all these different shows and everything that reflected the growing Black America moving to more affluence. You know, but that's what generally happens. You know, we have to basically be mindful of that. We have to be mindful of that. You know, when we talk about a brain trust, right? Those things happen. Now, like I said, I would say Bill Cosby tried. Okay. Bill Cosby tried. He wanted to create images of Black America because they say life imitates art. When you see something on image on TV, it will inspire you. You know how many people were inspired to go to a black college because of this TV show, A Different World? Do you know back in that time period, the number one apparel among black kids was HBCUs? It wasn't FUBU or anything like that, you know? It was black HBCUs, hoodies and shirts and everything. Black people were on a different thing. Then we got steered off in the 90s, steered off left. You know, black people, black college culture was competing with mainstream hip hop culture and everything like that, you know? So, well, like I said, we talk about that. Does anybody want you want to take some calls, Bomani?
Absolutely, brother. We can do that. You know, we just got to run a disclaimer,
right,
to let people understand that the topic is the topic, and if they're gonna come on, they can come on and ask intelligent questions, and we can dialogue and things like that. And if anybody want to debate, that's fine with them sharing their difference. But after a while, they finish, then they need to be quiet so we can analyze.
Right.
And any craziness, we're dropping and blocking folks. Some people be respectful, and if you're gonna bring it. It's all good.
Yeah.
So let me post this.
Yeah, because like I said, the topic of tonight is the Pan-African Brain Trust. You know, why I want to know, why is it that we don't have one black city on the planet? That should be in Africa, right? One black city you could say, wow, that's like the Mecca, that's the Athens, that's Cairo, that's Rome, that's the place where everything is highly advanced and highly developed and everything, where the best minds go. Let me tell you something, folks. You may not believe this, right? I learned this a long time ago. When you have the people, the best people concentrated in an area, miracles can happen. I remember back in like 2004, right? I was driving cab in Norfolk, right? And I got my base pass to go on the base, in the Norfolk Naval Base, right? And I remember when they gave they gave us a note saying the USS Harriet Truman was shipping out, right? Bomani, I've never seen anything like this logistically in my life, right? They said 72 hours, right? Bro, the whole city, all these military guys, right, were getting cabs, right? And then also I'm driving around taking people to the base, some dropping them off. Then went on the base, right? People were cabs and people were lined up getting into the base and everything. And then when you got in the base, people was so organized, right? And I'm like, wow, all these people coming from all over the area, synchronized, right? Guys with their backpacks on, everything like that, ready to ship out and everything. And I said to myself, wow, man, these guys are going out there, cab drivers taking them to the ship and everything. And the logistical thing that started all over the city. People like, yeah, I'm going there. And you see them on the highway all over the place, with their uniforms on, right, ready to ship out and stuff like that, because they got it was like a 48-hour notice one night to get on that ship and everything like that. And the way it was handled at the gate and everything like that, it was just amazing. How all those people, those thousands of people going to get on that ship and everything like that. They're going to know where exactly they go and everything like that. They got a certain amount of hours to board that ship or that ship's leaving and everything. And it was just amazing how I saw that operate. I said, wow. I was like, wow, how do they keep all those people together? How do they keep all together? Names, ranks, everything. And everybody just knows where they go. They know how to do everything. And it was just amazing. They the first class officer, this officer, boom, boom, boom. And it was just amazing how these guys just it just all formed together. They're apart, and they start forming and ranking formation while they're getting on that ship and everything. I was just like, wow. You've seen that before, Bomani, have you?
I lived that life, brother. I lived that life.
Yo, I was like, dang, man. I was like,
I was out for 6 months, and you have to get your affairs in order. Usually, you just get you already know heads up, months ahead of time. But sometimes you do have emergencies where
that was like an emergency. They said everybody got to be on the ship. They got 72 hours.
Yeah, so it's drills you practice, and everything goes back to training, logistic training, and it's like our people are not prepared because you're not like example you have black organization and you try to organize people to to be about their life and their business. People don't show up to meetings. People don't pay dues. People don't do certain things. But it is like, when you talk about straight military, I mean, this is your job, your priority. It's kind of like being married to the mob. I mean, that comes priority before everything else. So and it's kind of similar, well, not similar structure. Military or Navy is just on a supreme level, but it's the same science and theory as far as order and structure,
right?
And things like that. And that's
key words: order and structure. And that's what we need. We need order and structure, and we don't have that. We have
you follow a chain of command, and and everything gets done because everybody basically know it. Everybody knows their job and know what they have to do, and everybody's jobs represent getting the whole mission completed. And anyone that doesn't do their job jeopardize that mission. And I mean, and you could just have a simple job. Well, there's no simple jobs in the Navy. Every job is fundamental to that mission. One person don't do their job, or one department don't do their job, the mission fails.
Yeah, and I said to myself,
we got to get on.
That's what we have to have. We talk about building a Pan-African nationalist movement. We have to be organized on that level. We have to be organized in several different countries and whatnot. When we say, something, we need everybody to show up here. We need 1,000 people to show up here, and everybody have their skill sets and all the stuff like. Imagine that, brother. Everybody have their skill sets, and everybody like this. Everybody hits the ground. They know what they're doing, and boom, 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 and everything like that. That's what we call order. That's what we call logistics.
And so, that's something that we just have to keep on building to, with our order, with the structure of what we're doing, especially when a few of us are coming together. Just like I was telling you, I was watching you on a few videos. It was just a lot of people on these panels, and that's why we don't do all of those things anymore. But it's like some people literally have nothing to contribute to the conversation. They just want to hear themselves talk, and then anything that you say is like they find some other way to just oppose it. For no reason and with no backing and no critical thinking or anything, and it just becomes this a ruckus and things like that.
And that's what we don't tolerate over here. We want people that come here that got something to add to this.
We're serious. You see the big banner?
Brain trust. We need a brain trust at the highest level. Don't necessarily mean I'm going to be part of it. Maybe I want to get to the point where as brilliant as Kala is, maybe Kala's not qualified enough. But we have those people at the top level that know everything about the sciences or everything about everything on a decision where they basically hand down something and say, this is the how we need to do this, right? As adopted by governments and everything like that. We're going to build these cities. We're going to build this stuff like this. It's on a high level institutions in Black America, high level of businesses and everything. We need those high level things. And going forward, if we're serious about doing something, right? If we're serious, if you basically aren't serious, then we're gonna see people here talking about what Kanye West and who else is out and whoever's in the news is doing. If you want to keep talking about that nonsense, hey, go right ahead. Okay, that interests you, Herschel Walker and Raphael Warren. I don't listen to the debate. I don't care about that.
I mean, brother, straight ambulance chasing.
And I'm like, yo. I don't care about.
I mean, we're on a whole different level of what we're talking about. We literally talk about, family. You saw from the tours to us having land to where we're looking to put our energy together to get into cooperative economics building. And the next thing I'm going to show you is right here, family. There you go, Liberia, family.
Mm-hmm.
That's where me and Kala looking to expand to the highest level. Where we was even having a conversation today about that office that we're looking to connect with based on that land that you have as far as beachfront land, and just even and these are elements of things that you can organize here in your mind. So that's why when you have haters like not Meezy or this guy TH or some of these other HC or all these clowns that come up with all these acronym and everything. They're just jealous that we have a vision to connect our people to a future to where we can really just be a strong people, not telling people to give up whatever they have in America, but telling people literally building that global Black business pipeline that's going to help you be productive and help you just leverage your situation in America and basically take us out of the limitation, because everybody is enterprising. I'm saying? The Mexicans in Mexico and the Mexicans outside of Mexico, they aggressive all over. They trying to make themselves
they're unapologetic about it. They know they got millions of people here illegally. They don't care. They don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? They're like, okay, the U.S. gonna let us come across the border and do this shit. We're gonna do it. You know, they're gonna do it. You know, they don't care. Mexico sends $80 billion a year back to Mexico. You know, and these Mexicans on point come over here, getting the money, send it back to Mexico, go back to Mexico, be rich. You know, they ain't trying to be that's like that. But I can't hate on them or nothing like that. But Black America, where does our money go to? You know, how come we don't have places where we can invest in and pull money out? You know, so if you're not talking about on that level, what are we talking about? At the end of the day, you know, like also some people say, well, we invest. Look, the bottom line is this: what Bomani has and what I want to do in Liberia and Angola is the idea, and we have to have places on the African continent where we have our own money circulating and stuff like that. We're building something for ourselves and everything. We want to basically bring money to the African continent, right? But it has to be reciprocal. Okay, you know, reciprocal. We're not saying that, okay, we're gonna tell black people, okay, invest all your pension money in Ghana. No, we're gonna tell you, you know, your pension funds that you will live on the continent, right? But I'm gonna say something controversial here, but it doesn't necessarily mean any African country might be the best bet for your money. You know, I'm not gonna be able to tell people. I'm not gonna ever sell my people out for a piece of land or some shit like that. If if an African country I see has a good stock exchange, good bond market, and everything, I'm gonna say, yeah, that's a good investment. You know, if they don't, I'm gonna tell you, you know something? Nah. Invest in Hong Kong, invest in Tokyo, invest in wherever, invest in euros, invest in whatever. This country right here, right? Now, when the countries in Africa get their stuff together and everything, and we say, okay, we see where we can invest here and everything like that. It's a mutual beneficial, you know, and that's when people come to the table, right? And like I said, on a high level with respect. We have not had that, you know. I really don't feel the Africans have been dealing with the best and brightest among us. I really don't feel that, you know, for the most part. You know, I really don't feel. I do feel that a lot of people who deal with in Africa, who call themselves Pan-Africans, who deal with it from an emotional standpoint of view, and Africans have not seen the real intelligence of Black America yet. You know, so therefore, I ask the question. I'll say, well, when the high level stuff, if we're Pan-Africans, right? Pan means many, right? Many different. It does not mean indivisibility. It just means that I'm visible. I'm a Pan-Africanist, right? But I'm coming from a different situation. I'm Black African American, right? You're Nigerian, you're Kenyan, and everything. You guys have lands, you have nation states that you basically have laws. We currently don't have the ability to enter any keyword diplomatic agreement with anybody. So therefore, Pan-Africanism graduated over the last generation from an emotional thing and a cultural thing to a diplomatic standpoint. We Black people in the diaspora have never don't have any diplomatic or relationships with the African continent. That's why it's important for us to build our own infrastructure on the African continent. So therefore, we can have some sort of diplomacy, you know, some sort of diplomacy. Right now, we have nothing because you don't have a stand. You have not made your stand anywhere. You don't control territory. You own nothing. You really are, despite the fact that you call we Black America have the most money, we're the most powerless. Without land, you do not exist. Without territory, you do not exist. Even in America, all these cities that we claim we're majority of, we're doing bad because white people still control Atlanta. They still control areas that we claim as our own. We do not have anything. We do not have the top people running any territory that we control. We don't have a brain trust. This is what we want to have. And good God, butcher the name. The Pan-African Star community in Ghana. We want to have a brain trust. People are constantly thinking round the clock how we're going to build things and everything. We want the best and brightest. When we're on the African continent, we build communities and everything, and we're living in the country. We should have the best and brightest people meeting on a regular basis to basically discuss things, to discuss on our behalf. And also, we have to basically understand that just because somebody's on YouTube and they got so many different subscribers, I'm not talking about anybody else, no but person, right? That don't mean they have the answer. Okay, you know, and that's we have to get
Yeah,
to.
that definitely mean they don't have the answer. You know what I mean?
You
There's some of
know,
these people that's YouTubers, brother. I mean, let's be real. I'm not trying to call nobody no names and things like that, or
right?
call nobody out. And I mean, but naturally, you know, whoever the shoe fits, wear it. You know, people like myself don't even care. But reality of it is, um, our people want to learn about Pan-Africanism and connecting to Africa and doing things in Africa. And they're dealing with people who literally just play around on YouTube. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And don't really, they claim they have a presence on Africa and they're doing things in Africa, but you never hear them show it, and you never see, you know, examples or anything. But they just literally just rather spend most of their time like literally just honestly, brother, ambulance chasing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't have a career, they don't really have a real business or a real operation. Now, I'm not knocking anybody who have to be a YouTuber and make your money. Like some people, a lot of people on YouTube make way more than what I make as a business person who works 7 days a week. You know what I'm saying? So, and you know, so but that's what that is. But what we do is professional business. You know what I mean? Kala don't even have a YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? He running his business agency and he has his operation in Liberia. And then the projects that we're working on take all of our time and things. So I'm telling people like, if you really want to be a part of what we're building for the future, you know, we have the link right there, brother. You know, we've been talking about it. As anybody
join the social
anybody
network.
joined since we've been pushing this for the last several months?
I had a couple of people join. You know, a couple
Okay,
of people.
appreciate it. Okay, excellent, family. Appreciate it.
The whole thing is this: when the reason why, and I'm gonna get back to why we created the BAO social network, right? When we created the BAO social network, right, we saw that we needed something outside of Facebook and everything like that, that basically we connect. And we basically wanted to connect. I only wanted to connect with the smartest people among us, right? What I was shocked was how many people, when they read the About Us section and stuff like that, how many people in Black America who are highly educated, high skilled, strongly agree what we're saying. They're like, yo, look, yeah, building a city state and as our end game will pull our whole community together. They're like, yeah, that's doable. Yeah, we could build a smart city. We could build this. I had no idea how many people basically have thought like this, you know, in Black America. You know, and like I said, we were having a momentum, and then YouTube comes along, you know, around 3 years ago, and everybody started getting lax because instead of building and getting on these chats we had a group ready to go to Angola 2 years ago, but because of COVID, you know, and so therefore the bottom line is we have a lot of people that went to the continent, was on the continent, and everything, but the whole thing is some of them basically started becoming YouTubers and basically going after, instead of building the mission, right? Then once they're on the continent, they just started relaxing and chilling, chasing women and doing stuff like this, right? So basically, we're talking about stuff that building stuff, right? Connecting with people and doing stuff. It's not enough just to freaking get online and talk about stuff and talk. We all know about Africa. We all know Africa's potential, you know, and you know, getting a passport going to Africa is not impressing anybody anymore. We have to build something. We have to show people that what we're made of, because sooner or later, Africans are like, look, you guys been coming over here for 20 years now, and I haven't seen nothing built. I have seen
Yeah,
nothing.
absolutely, brother. It's just like saying you got land, or you got a title, or you got you know, you got a town, you got this. All of that is cool and it's nice, but it's like you got to work towards developing it to where you can build what you're talking about building. And it's like, are you really putting the work into doing it, or are you scared to do it, or you just don't really believe in your vision? I mean, these
Right.
things are real questions people have to ask themselves when they're just, you know, but you know, I don't really see a whole bunch of serious energy. But what I'm telling people, family, is the Black Star Pan African community that we're building is gonna be a shining example. We've been showing everybody from day one, literally all of
And Brother
what
Bomani, check this out. In the
yeah.
BAO, right? We had Jonathan Hill, right? Because remember, he went over to you, right, and helped you with the Garvey Town and everything like that. Because of the BAO, he went and got his public administrative or public works degree and stuff like that. And he said, yeah, how to be civil engineer, whatever like that. And he started talking about community planning and stuff like that, you know. And we had so many people that went to school and got these certifications and said, yeah, I want to do this. We have different groups called the skilled workers group. We have the engineering group. We have a STEM group. We have all these groups. I want to one day create into institutions, you know, One day when we have the money and the resources, these groups are all going to be institutions in every country we operate in. STEM groups, science, business, everything, every facet of nation building is going to be institutionalized, right? And we're going to be able to bring in young people, young minds, and everything like that. This is difference between us and the Asians, right? And I do CD AutoCAD, right? We do sketch designs of cities and towns and everything like that, right? But I used to do that stuff like that with SimCity and everything, and I see mostly white guys. Just think about this. You think this blows my mind, right? And I know Dion, I'm gonna get Dion in a second, right? White guys, right? They have video things like how to start your own nation. Google it. How would I start my own micronation, right? And they're like, yo, if we can get a piece of territory, they'd be like, there's unoccupied land here. And I know some of them have their eyes on Africa, right? And all I need is like 500 square miles, right? And then they show them say, look, we can declare our independence and we can do this, have a monetary, and they show them like this. Now we have our own nation, how nations are built. And I'm saying to myself, you got white guys who have America, Europe, and the whole world. I'm thinking about, man, wouldn't it be nice to basically conquer some territory? A few years ago, there were some white people who tried to do that in the Dutch Suriname. I don't know if you remember that case, right? There was some white supremacist group who came from the United States and tried to overthrow the government and establish a new nation because they wanted a new country. You know, that was back in the 90s. You know, in the Dutch Suriname in Central South America. You know, and so therefore, what I'm saying to myself is, if you got white people talking about, yeah, what would like to start a new micronation, what would like to build a new city state, what did I like that, right? And you got Asians and Arabs thinking about this. Do you know you got people in Singapore who got ambitions to build an overseas empire in Africa right now? They're looking at land in Sudan, and we could build this and everything, build their own smart city in the middle of Sudan, and also like this. And I'm saying to myself, where is the black man in America, in the West? You know, why are we struggling with members and everything like that? You know, and while everybody else is making moves that's going to change the world in the next generation, we don't know how the world's going to end up. America could fall apart for all we know. And so therefore, we're saying, why are we not serious about this nation building stuff? Why are we not building these city states? Why are we not building stuff like this? You know? And so therefore, that's when we created BAO, we're like this. There's a lot of people think like we do, right? But over the last couple of years, they've been distracted by all this nonsense we see on YouTube. You know, people talking this, that. All right. Let me pass the mic to Dion.
Hey,
Hey,
greetings,
bro.
Dion. What's on
Hey,
your
brothers. How y'all
mind?
feel?
Doing well, doing well. Let me pull up the topic again, so we can keep it on the topic. Yes, what you feel about the topic, and go ahead with what you want to share.
Topic is great. Just joining in, just trying to, keep learning and building. The groups that you talked about, Kala, can I get that link or something so I can sign up?
Yeah, the BAIO Global Pipeline is an app. You could download the app and then sign up through the app. You know, download the app from the App Store. You
Okay,
know, BAIO Global
B.
Pipeline. Hey, Diane, Bomani, you want to put that in the thing? I'm gonna put it in the chat. You know, BAIO Global Pipeline. We have different groups. We have different state. You're in Illinois. We have Illinois State Chapter. We have a lot of people in the Illinois group. You can reach out to our Illinois people in Chicago. You know, I got my
Okay.
boy, Mike Akins, Quint, and all these guys. These guys are fantastic guys. You know, and in the
Yeah, the guy you
Chicago
talked
area.
about last week that do the
Yeah,
fiber optics, right?
yeah, that fiber optic. Yeah.
Yeah, put it in the chat so I can don't make a mistake.
It's in there and it's on your screen.
It's on my screen?
That's on the screen and it's in the chat.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, the join and whatnot. You know, and like I said, you know, ask 2 questions: are you African American or Black African descent? Say yes, and we let you in. You know, we don't know Hebrew, Moor, and all this other stuff like this. We want Black Africans. People say I'm Black African, and once you're Black African, okay, you're with us. You know, so let people know that this is an African mission. You know. You know,
Yeah.
so like we're just, you know, proud. Like I said, the BAO, we're doing a lot of good things and everything like that. You know, one day we're gonna put it all together because I've been run this organization without collecting any money. You know, I've been running this organization out of my pocket for years. You know, the day is gonna come, man. We're gonna get blessed. Where we hopefully soon where we're gonna be organized to the point where we got major people with money investing in us. They look at our vision and say, you know something, that's why we keep this going, right? Because the right people are gonna come and say, you know something, wow, you guys talk about building a Pan-African stuff. You guys are linked through major people in America. Let's get behind this. But no people, black people and our people spend their money on nonsense. Nobody's thinking about the future. This organization, BAIO, is all about the future. You know, all about educating our kids, STEM, science, you know, industry, you know, culture, you know, all the stuff like this that we need for nation building, land, agriculture, or everything that you could talk about in nation building, you know, manufacturing, wherever it takes a nation building, government, you know.
I was thinking about what you just the topic that you talked about earlier, the organization and the military and all that type of stuff. So I took my son, he plays basketball, he's 12.
Right.
So he was at this basketball camp, Chicago high school, Walter Payton. And I asked him, how was it? He was like, it was kind of easy. And when I heard that, I was like, okay. I said, but you know what? That's good. It should have been easy because we put a lot of time and effort in the training and some of the things they did. Not that he did the exact thing, but he was prepared and ready. So it made me think about what you said, like when you train for something, you know, domination, the future, taking over, building your own city, you know, like then it actually becomes easy. So I was like, son, that's actually kind of good. You know, now you see we training for basketball, but it goes to the math and the studying and all that type of stuff. So if I can prepare you, then you wake up and later on, it'll just be easier to you, you know, because you're prepared. The training, just like what you was talking about. So I'm game. I want to help.
Yeah, please join us, man. And like I said, we need help. Sign up, make your profile. It's like on Facebook, you know. It's like on
Yeah,
Facebook.
for
Social network site. You can upload videos. We got a lot of videos. We got a lot of blogs in there, a lot of content and everything like that. Just join the family, you know. And you know, you can create your own group in there too. You can create your own group. You feel free to create your own group, your own blogs, and upload your video, invite people in and stuff like that. It's a place of serious people to communicate, you know. You know, and so therefore people get lost. When I love when I go to my social network and I'm communicating with people in there, and I realize it's serious people, right? And then I get lost on YouTube because I see a bunch of people talking a bunch of nonsense and everything on YouTube all the time. And so therefore in the BAO, we got serious people that do serious stuff, and these people got careers and everything. And so therefore the vision of an Afrikstan, a nation state or a city state or municipality, you know, several. What I vision for the Afrikstan is several municipalities spread around the continent, right? Under one big international charter, right? That says, okay, this is the Afrikstan. These are territories of people who are descendants of this transatlantic slave trade. They live on the continent in their own communities and everything like that, right? And then we have some sort of voice on the global scale, the global stage, you know? Right now, we have no voice representing the Black diaspora in Africa and the world. We don't. You know, we have no say-so over anything that goes on in the African continent. We have no say-so. If that's our ancestral land and everything, just going to a country and just being obedient to these corrupt people that's running the continent is not going to do it. We need to have our own infrastructure on the African continent. We need to be strong on the African continent. We need to make our stand. That's what Afrikstan means, a stand. We need to stand in Africa, not kneel, not beg, not grovel. Okay, and that's our stand. That's how we stand. That's how we build. You know, and so therefore, this somebody said there's a brother that's very serious about developing out in Africa. He's now locked up in Oklahoma. He was so serious they had to find a way to shut him down. I wish I knew who this brother was. You got his name? You know, brother is very serious about starting and developing our own in Africa. He was locked up in. He's now locked up in Oldham County. If we could have his name, we could probably reach out to him and find out who he is, and you know, so we can give him our support. You know, that's what the whole thing is. We have people who talk like that. We have this guy. King Messiah, I think his name is, that was on the show chatting last week. He's talking the same thing the BAO's talking about, but do you think he would join us? You know, I hate this guy, King Justice. I don't know what's his name, King Justice, whatever, like that. And you would think he'd be like, I seen this guy around. He knows Kala, he knows the BAO, but you would think he would like, you know something? I want to join the BAO. I want to be part. Let's join forces. No, everybody just get on the thing, and I'm sick and tired of seeing people just say, "Oh, we need a nation Rome." Yeah. Join the BAIO. You know, join Bomani. Join me. Let's come together. But everybody just wants to
I
launch
call
out.
it the team of one.
Yeah,
The team of one. Like,
wants,
I'm sick of that myself. You know, like,
I'm
why
tired.
we always got to reinvent the wheel when the wheel was already invented?
Yeah, and that's what I thought. I thought, right, that black people rise up with the BAO. Okay, they come one platform. I'm not saying when you come to the BAO social network, I'm not sitting there dictating. It's a free social network, right? People communicate. There's people that do the BAO. I don't even know, you know, and they're just like, yeah, I'm a member of the social network and everything like that, and they link up with each other and everything. Oh yeah, I'm in the city, and they be doing their own thing. That's what we're saying. Just come in, but people are like, oh, I can't join college stuff and whatnot. That's gonna make college look good and whatnot. All this kind of stupid stuff that when other races of people, they come together and whatnot and say, yeah, well, I see that I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna link up with it. That's because I'm starting to question all any of these people even serious, you know. And I'm sick and tired of people playing games. All I do is see them. I see these people online all the time in the chat room. Right now, we need this. We need this. Well, I created the way. You talk about black economics, right? We have so many different black economic groups and everything like that. Even Sister Michi X, you know, I admire what she's doing. You know, she has a boot camp, a business boot camp, and everything like that. You would think people who constantly talking about they broke and whatnot would join her and say, "What the hell? What do you got to offer?" You know. And so, therefore, like I said, and the YouTube is an outlet for people to come and that do absolutely nothing with their lives. You know, do nothing with their lives to congregate together, talk about stuff, and don't do anything. And then when you have a solution, you have people like myself, you, and Bomani, and everything. We're saying, look, just join with us and get to know us and everything. We can talk offline and everything like that. They don't want to do that. The only time that you see them is when somebody does a show and they're in the chat room or they're on a panel spewing the same nonsense that I'm sick and tired of hearing 24 hours a day. All right, we said that 24 hours a day. Yeah, there's racism in America. Oh, we're sick and tired of this. We're sick and tired of this. But other people, they put a plan together. They have a brain trust, They have a brain trust and say, this is how we're going to move forward.
Well, this person's saying, what about Adi? Because they're saying Adi, they thinking Adi got a brain trust.
Who is Adi? I don't know
him. You know the definition, man. And basically, our kind of group.
Oh Lord, knows.
ADBI.
See, let me tell you. Let me tell you about the Dr. Arcana group. This is the problem, right? Her idea came from the BAIO. Her idea of Wakanda City came from me, the BAO. And she basically, Mr. Rosenthal, my partner in the Congo right now, and he has an African bullion bank. I'm proud of him, man. He's doing really well in the Congo. He wants to bring the bullion bank to Liberia. There's going to be some stipulations. I'm going to see if I can set that up for him when I go to Liberia in January. But the whole thing is this. He introduced the idea of the Afrikstan in Angola, right? And what happened was our partners, long story short, he had to leave Angola. And he went over to Zimbabwe, and that's where he met Dr. Arcana. And he met with Mugabe. He said, we got some people in America who talk about building a city-state. And she took it as, she started calling it a Wakanda thing, right? Said, oh, yeah, we got land on the border of Zambia and Zimbabwe. We'll call it Wakanda. Okay. Somebody just joined the BAO. Is that you, Dion?
Yeah, I'm trying to join.
Okay, I'm going to approve it when we get done with the show. I'll approve it when we get done. I just got the notification. Okay, so she started calling Wakanda City. And then I told Mr. Rosenthal, she got to stop calling Wakanda City. It's called it Afrikstan, Because basically, when we started calling Wakanda City, people didn't know that the idea, it's probably legit, but it's not for us. It's not Black power. It's not Black African power like we know it. You know, if we're going to build something, right, we're going to control it. We're going to have the final say so over what gets built in our lives. 500 years we've been letting other people who didn't have our common struggle tell us what to do. The Afrikstan is about us and the diaspora having self-determination. And if you try to deny us self-determination, you are no more different than a white man who's got his foot on our neck, or the Jews that got their foot on our neck. Too many people want to benefit from Black America, and also what they too much of emphasis on attracting Black celebrities. You know, I'm sick and tired of Black people in America feel that our celebrities are our salvation. Oh, we can get Shaq to come join us. Somebody else just joined. You know, somebody else just joined. 2 people just joined. You know, thank you for the sign up, folks. This is what we do this for. You know, we could just get Shaq, and we could just get Michael Jordan. We go like this and like this. No. The bottom line is out of our movement is going to produce our own entertainers, our own millionaires and billionaires. We're going to have people who sing the praises of African nationalist spirit. We're not going to have race traders and all these other people running out there like Akon. Akon building a city with the Chinese and Europeans and everybody else. What the hell I want with that? What do I want with Akon and Gomorrah and whatnot? You know, all the freaking stuff like this. We want an Afrikstan. We want to be able to say like this. When people come into our territory, they're going to see the best. They're going to see us at our best. You know, they're going to see beautiful, angelic Black women and strong Black men building a civilization, building society together. And that's how you get the respect. You're not going to get no respect by people. So, Dr. Khan, oh, the Chinese will build. I don't want the Chinese building anything. We're going to build it. You know, we're going to build it. We got the skills and everything like that. All we need is a start. You know, we need opportunity. And with Angola, you know, we don't even need money because they're like, we got the money and territory to do that. And that's why I hooked up with Bomani. Really, I've always been with Bomani. I really hooked up with Bomani because he showed me that he could deliver, right? So therefore, we're going to make prototype communities and propose them to the Angolan government. They're going to say, yeah, come on, build it. We'll get, you don't need no money. Just build it and make sure the people come. That's all they really want, you know? And so we want to build families. You know, we want to settle Black families over there. We want to be able to settle Black students over there. We want to settle Black everybody, industrialists, farmers, and all these other people like that to build a nation. You know, we're going to have this nation building day. We're going to have so many people trying to get in. We're going to have our pick of people who was going to settle. You know, and like I said, the hard part is the Liberia and the Ghana part. Because once this basically does, then I bet, wow, man, these guys got nice popping communities over there, right? And we'll say, yo, look, man, you know, we could do this in your country too. What do you think they're going to say? And you got a pipeline to Black America. What do you think they're going to say? You know, they're going to say yes. And the beauty about this is we don't require no white man's approval. You know, we don't this everything we do in the BAO and what we're doing only requires Black people to believe in what we're doing and join.
Hey, Kala.
Yeah.
I was just looking up Angola because I don't know much about it. One video popped up how the Central African city became the world's most expensive.
Yeah, that was Kalunda City, right? Now that was started back in 2015, right?
Yeah.
The city's still empty, right? The Angola built that because they had all that money and everything, Dos Santos and everything. It was like that, but they basically the reason why it was like that because logistically, right? The Chinese had to have steel, all that. They had like 100 ships waiting to unload. That cost money. And so, and now that the Angolan government, last government was corrupt, they were taking their cuts. So all that was a markup, you know. Now people say, oh, it's an expensive city, but it got built though, you know. Now over time, right? Over time, you know, as Angolans move to the middle class, that won't be a problem because right now Angola, what they don't have is banking and mortgage services, you know. See, it's only spinning because people got to come up with cash. There's no mortgage system, you know. Africans don't have mortgage system. That's another opportunity for Black people who do mortgages and banking to make a mint. because African countries don't have that. They got to put 20% down to pay all stuff like that. There's no long-term mortgages and stuff like that on the continent. So when we start building these things, there's plenty of opportunity as far as like building that. Now, Kalunda City, right? It was built right in record time, and you look at the city's beautiful. The city's beautiful. It's that apartment buildings, different colors and everything like that. But the Angola is just like China. China has ghost cities. They couldn't move millions of people to the city because to move people from rural areas to a city, right, requires you to educate them. You got to give them a new way of life. They got to go from working on farms to working in industries, factories, and everything. And a lot of people aren't educated to do that, right? See, with black people from the West, there's no problem because we're already at a certain level. You see what the difference is?
Yeah.
See, it's easy. It's like let me give you an example. It's called a surge, right? These people, these countries in Africa will love a surge of black people from the West to settle there because they know we could buy properties, we could rent properties. We got money, we put money in the banks and everything. Money will start circulating in their economies and everything. At the same time, their local people will benefit eventually, gradually. And also, like right now, we have a competition for productive people. Right now, Africa is going through a problem with a net loss of brain power. The West is basically going to Africa offering visas to anybody with education to come over there. And like I said, a lot of these people you see on YouTube, I'm in Kenya, but I live in the UK. What do you do in the UK? If you're a doctor, why don't you go to Kenya and freaking help your people out? They won't do that. The South Africans, right? White South Africans are getting free education from the government of South Africa. Guess who's scooping them up? Australia. They can't wait. They have to do 2 years of service in the poor areas, right? And then we know what happens after 2 years? Canada, Australia, England scoops them up. So all that money they spent in educating these doctors and nurses in South Africa, they lose. So therefore, that's what Angolans tell me they're missing out on. They said, look, man, my Angolan partner, Mr. Vemba, elder brother, right? He lived in Philadelphia for 30 years. He said he lives on the East Coast of America. He said, man, I tell you what, man, we had some of these black people that got these skills, electrical skills, iron working, steel work. He sees the potential. He's like, man. And then when he met me, I had a BAO member early, right? This guy, Antonio, I didn't know he was Angolan, right? And I was basically saying, you know something? We know a good country to look at, Angola. He goes, I'm Angolan. I go, get out of here. I thought he was just some dude because he had dreads and whatnot. I thought he was from here, He said, nah, man. He goes, I'm Angolan. He lives in Buffalo, New York. I'm Angolan. And then he hooked me up with, the reason why I got so many people in Angola I know is because he hooked up with Mr. Vemba. And Mr. Vemba talked to me and said, man, Kala, I had no idea there was black people in America who thought like you. I had no idea. And his son contacts me and everything. He joined the BAO and everything. But basically, and I talked to the Angolan consulate, and I was blown away. I said, man, we built the smart city. He said, are you kidding me? He said, we talk about that whispering, but we don't know if any black people in America would want to come. I said, you guys got a beautiful country. Of course we'll come. And so ever since then, that's been like 2016, I've always put Angola as a main part of what we're talking about, right? But a lot of people, and when I talk about it, they say, oh, they speak Portuguese and everything. I put language and everything, and I'm like, I never forgot, my contacts with Angola. And I said, and then it dawned on me after I went to Liberia last year, I said, we can't launch directly to Angola. But if we had several countries in West Africa that's like a soft landing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the Angolans, my goal is to bring the Angolans to Liberia and Ghana, because there's many Angolan millionaires and billionaires who want to connect with Black America and do business throughout the continent, But they know they got own goals here, but they know Angola's so far away. But if we basically are building these Pan-African business networks, consortiums, business groups, I just want to see it happen. The Angolans are into diamonds and everything, and so they're interested in expanding in West Africa. And
the language is what?
Portuguese. But the thing is, they're trying to learn English. They said the biggest thing you could do in Angola right now is teach English. If you got an associate's degree to teach English, you can get a job just like that in Angola. you know. And also, like I said, we build a city state. I said, yeah, English speaking city state where they're linked to the English speaking world. It says all language, you know. English is language of business, you know.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, they would love to have a place where, you know, business, you know, where the English speaking black people are. That's what they want to be connected to. They told me they don't
You
like
think
Brazil.
you think we could put together some Zoom type stuff and do training that way?
We could do we look. I'm all for anything what anybody wants to do progressively. I got Angolans in the BAO. If somebody wants to get in there and start talking and conducting Zoom meetings with our Angolan people and everything, remember something. The time zone's different. You know, they're like 7 hours ahead of us. You know,
7. Okay.
so it's very difficult when I do Angolans. It's very difficult to do a conference. I've done them. You know, it's very different. It's 7 hours ahead. You know. You call them at 3 o'clock in the afternoon where they're like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, you know?
Yeah.
And so therefore, yeah. So therefore, if you join the Angolan group, we got several Angolan groups. You got Eduardo in there and Junior in there. You know, like those are my two Angolan top guys. You know, if you ever want to go to Angola, they'll make sure you get there. You just get your plane ticket, and they'll give you a full itinerary. They'll show you all around. You won't have to pay for nothing. You know?
Oh, that's what's up.
You know what I'm saying?
And you
So
fly to, I'm looking at the city right now, Luanda.
Luanda, that's the capital.
Luanda. Okay. Nice.
So they're looking for Black America. They're looking for to connect with Black America and the diaspora, you know? That's why it's important that we keep our image. You know what I'm saying? Because they have this image of us as great, powerful people. And we have to keep constantly projecting that. And we got to watch out for people who's diminishing our image to Africans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
They're
for
saying
sure.
stupid stuff about us and everything like that. But the Angolans know. They say, you people over here, great. They know our history and everything like that. They know we was able to overcome everything. They love it. You know, they love Black America, you know? The president of Angola recently was at the Smithsonian African American Museum. And he says, well, the Angolans, he says African Americans mostly come from Angolan descent, you know, so he's trying to reach into Black America, you know.
Yeah, that's enlightening. Yeah, I didn't know all of that. I got to do some more studying.
Yeah, so let me let you in the group. Hold on, let me let you in the group so you can. Let's see. Okay.
All right, perfect. Yes, Kala, appreciate you breaking it down. And
Yeah,
Kala, you know, we got about a good 7 minutes, so perfect. I can post a link again for some new people. But
right.
but you know,
Dion Butcher.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we got 2 people just joined. Welcome to the BAL, folks. This is how we do it. You know, sign up check out the groups. You know, your state chapter. Get in contact with the members in your state. You know, start conversating. You know, add friends on the group and everything. This is how we do it. You know, this is a social network. This is the last serious. This BAO, this social network is the last serious attempt at the Pan-African movement. You know, the last serious attempt. You know, everybody else are off doing their own thing. They want to, whatever they want to do and everything. I wish them a lot of luck. But this is serious. This is serious as it gets. And that's why we put so much money and time in building the social network.
Cool. Well, I ain't got much to say tonight, brothers. I got a lot of construction work I got to do. Got my trip to Ghana. I'm leaving October 30th with my group.
Congratulations. So. You do construction.
Thanks,
we have a group called the Skilled Workers Group, the Dooges. Remember Dooges from Fraggle Rock?
Yeah,
down in Fraggle.
yeah.
That's what we made at the
I love
Doozers.
Fraggle Rock.
Oh yeah, that's we have the Doozers group. The Fraggle Rock. You're a
Okay.
Doozer.
Oh yeah.
Join the Doozer group. It's Fraggle Rock.
Okay. All right, I
So
will for sure.
like
Yeah,
I
but
said, man,
appreciate you,
we're
Dion.
rolling
And
up.
if you're gonna make a move, make a move. We're gonna be wrapping it up shortly, also as we come up on 2 hours. Appreciate you.
It's a bit of a short one tonight. We could do we could Mind Free
A
Saturday
short
night.
one. What's up, man? Y'all sick or something, man? I know y'all like
No,
6
we gotta
7,
get
8
up in the
hours.
morning, man. I gotta get up in the morning.
Yeah, I'm
that's
done with
6
doing.
hour, man. The other
I'm done with
night,
doing
man.
that and letting a bunch of trolls on. And I got work to
man,
do.
I was
I got serious business to do.
for 4 hours sleep, man. I'm like, God damn, man. 4 hours sleep. I was dragging all day. I was like, God damn, navigate, I was like, damn, navigate.
I woke up and the thing was still on. I didn't turn it off. I said, man, I'm not even looking. I gotta go to sleep. I gotta stay asleep. I would just laugh.
I cannot believe he didn't like your proposal with the thing. I thought he was gonna say it's a good idea. I'm like, damn, he didn't like that, man. It's a hard crowd, man. I tell you.
I got an idea though. Like at my building, I got a driveway that I wanted to pave over anyway. So I'm about to start collecting tires, and I'm gonna do my own mock trial in my yard. I'm gonna use my buddy's backhoe. Bobcat. I'm gonna dig it out, and then I'm gonna pay my construction guy, my concrete guy, to either put concrete or asphalt. I'm gonna see it, and then I'm gonna video the joint myself, and I'll show Navigate and anybody else. And then I'll say, look, Chicago winter is rough. So if it lasts for several years, I'll run my cars over top of it just to see, and then I'm gonna have my own prototype.
Yep.
So that's
matter of fact, I would like you to upload that to the Ning site, to the website.
Okay.
When you upload videos, you got to do the embed. The embed media.
Yes.
Don't put the link, because when you do the embed, your video pops up. You can put that in the forum, the forum. You can put that in any one of the groups, or you can put that on your main page, whatever like that. But that's a good idea to upload anything you can share to the website. And get people communicating and everything. Like I said, a lot of our people are distracted by YouTube. I want to bring people back to the website, and let's start doing this thing again. Because like I said, people. If you like entertainment on YouTube, nothing against my YouTube brothers on YouTube, got YouTube channels, not hating and all like that. But this is too important to be talking about all the nonsense we talk about. This Pan-African movement, nation building. I want brothers more like Dion. These people are ready to work, ready to build and everything, ready to connect and everything like that. We owe it to the real Pan-Africanists to keep this going, and not be sidetracked with entertainment and folly and stuff like this.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely upload. I'm gonna start it like right in the spring.
Yep.
Cool. Well, y'all brothers have a good night for sure. All
right, brother Dion. All right, brother Dion.
All right, thanks again.
Yeah. You take care, brother. Take care. Yes, Kala Genesis, and we're coming down to the end as we wrap things up. As you broke it down tonight on the topic, let's just show the topic again. As you broke it down, as you can break it down.
I'm gonna give a summary. I'm gonna give a closing summary. Okay. Folks, we need, like I said, the African for Africans community and Pan-African Black Star community, the BAO social network. These two entities, right, are linking you join the social network, right? And then you plugged in with Bomani and Africa for Africans and everything. We got stuff get done. You could basically start your own BAO chapter. We have BAO chapters. If you want to host BAO chapters, African chapter in your area and everything, as being a support group, or you guys want to have a study group and everything like that, and meet face to face, have a bowling night. Go out and do bowling. And like I said, we're gonna have BAO t-shirts out there for sale soon. And yet you could go and say, look, we're part of BAO/Africa for Africans and everything. You can have your own study group. You can have your own activities. It's not all just sitting around like that. We want people to live a normal lives, right? Maybe young couples have dating, and young married couples get together and have double dating, and this is a life we want to see, while the grand total of the thing is us building communities all over Africa and eventually raising our flag on African soil and being autonomous, if not independent, and that's what we're going to do. And that's going to be the future of the black people in the world, in the race. And this, like I said, the BAO and Africa have the vision. Everybody else, basically, they're stuck in the same thing. No offense to anybody else, but but when people want to come with us, you're not coming under us. You're joining us. If you have an organization there's a Pan-African group, you could join the BAO social network, be just part of us and everything. Get in what you fit in, and just become acclimated. It's not this. We understand all these organizations. We're all independent. We all have our goals and everything. But if your goal is building a future for our people and building business and building trade and building education and building all the stuff like that, that's going to make us free. And the most important thing, a happy people. I'm sick and tired of people being unhappy and miserable. Okay? You're not going to go anywhere being miserable. But the joy my brother Bomani and I get when we talk about these things, and you see Bomani's face light up when we talk about all the stuff like that, when he's starting to see his work, the work he's done is coming to fruition, and we're building these things, it brings happiness. If you're dealing with anybody and they don't seem like they're happy, run from them, because they're doing something wrong and they're leading you to nowhere. You should be happy. Whatever you do, this should bring you happiness. We're building communities. Wow. Man, we have plans to build them in Angola, plan to build them in Liberia, Zambia. Man, we got people coming on to us that's getting into major businesses and everything. And man, we had this festival. Everybody had a good time. I made members of the BAO all over the world, and we're just getting together and everything. This is what we're talking about, folks. Happiness. Happiness. And once you're happy, then you could deal with the things that make you sad. But you got to have something that makes you happy. Nation building is the biggest happiness thing I've ever seen. It's what I dedicated my life to. And this makes me happy. The fact that, when I was all alone years ago, I thought I was the only one in the world thought like I did. Social media comes along and I find out not only that people have the same thoughts I did, but they're actually completing my sentences. Oh, wow, I thought about that too. Wow, I've been thinking about that too. How the hell you come to that conclusion? Hey, it's common sense. Maybe it's just destiny. So that's all I pretty much have to say tonight.
Yes, Kala, dropping the microphone. Yes, as we close out, that's it, family. The website, africaforafricans.org, and you have the link right there to join a social network and connect. And you have stream of information, my number, email address, website to connect with us. I apologize that we're not YouTubers and we sit here and just being a bunch of YouTubing and gossiping about a bunch of this stuff, because the reality of it is, when you're about this real life, you have business and responsibilities to do. You can't be sitting here doing live streams every 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 nights in a row, back to sometimes 2, 3 shows. You know what I'm saying?
I can't do it.
You know what I'm saying? In between your, in between your little side hustles, man. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. You know what I mean? But we have to gravitate towards running and building business enterprise. I mean, all this gossiping is not even, I understand if you're gonna push your brand and market your business and everything, that's one thing. But to literally sit here and this ambulance chase and gossip about every single little current event and things like that, and every minute you got a video on it. I mean, what a life, man, brother. I want to see us build empires. Real
empires.
Man.
That's what I'm.
That's world.
Yeah, that's what I'm ready for, bro. I think I've done all the talking I'm going to do for a lifetime, bro. I'm ready to start seeing this thing go. Now I'm glad that you got people like Dion and whatnot. Sometimes you got to do many shows before you get somebody solid. Say, I want to be on part of that, and then they turn out to be like phenomenal, and getting the stuff done. You know, and like I said, if we can just get our people off Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and all this other stuff like that, this is a distraction. You know, that leads us nowhere. You know, because the bottom line, it leads us nowhere. All this YouTube gossip, passport borrows, and all this stupid stuff we talk about on YouTube. You know, the gender wars, all this kind of nonsense and everything. It's not the Pan-African way. You know, this is what you. This is a platform where we talk about nation building. We talk about this. I want to bring people on who can give us an assessment of what's going on in the Cameroon. I want to know that people who's basically studying what's going on in the Congo. I want a real accurate report about what's going on in the Congo. I want to know what's going on. You know, what's really happening on the African continent. Who's our mouthpiece for the African Union? Tell us what's going on there. Policy being there. We don't have that. You know, we got people living on the continent can't give us anything intelligent to report back on, but besides gossip and jollof rights and shit. You know, and nonsense and foolishness. So this is what we're talking about. We want this is a platform, the BAO, the Africa for Africans group, where we're serious about what we're talking about. We want serious people that's going to give us serious information. Serious information about what's going on. You know, if you got connections and stuff like that, we like to know about them. You know, if you heard something, you've seen something, say something. You know, these are the type of stuff we're talking about for the future. You know, and I want us to raise that. I want us as people from the diaspora, right? Because it's sooner or later, Africans are going to think that they don't really need us. If we're all we're going to be talking about is foolishness and nonsense and everything, not saying Africans don't have their own thing, but at least they got people in place. They got the power of government and laws behind what they're saying. We don't even have that. So we have to basically be these organized to a level where we're just as strong as a government. And that's the future. If we're on the same page that we want land infrastructure nationhood, and we're not compromising about that, we need to build our own communities. We need our own industrial parks. We need all this stuff like this. We need our infrastructure. We need all this stuff like that. This is what we could do. And this is what we have. This is what we do. And now here back in America, the cities that we are a majority in, we're going to make sure there's trade and commerce between African said countries and that thing. So it's going to give Africa access to the tremendous U.S. market, a $24 trillion market. So the possibility we could be that conduit between Africa and the United States. We're not saying get on a boat and everybody leave behind what you have in America. We're saying we're going to add Africa into our global portfolio. That's what the Afrikstan is all about. I don't know how we make it simple. We're not telling anybody they got to leave tomorrow and go to Africa. No, we're saying that if you're on the continent, if you want to plug in with us, if you want to be part of this global Pan-African, Black African infrastructure pipeline, you join us. Now, if you want to be stupid and think that you don't need us, that you're a Ghanaian now, or you're a Nigerian now, or you're a South African now, and you don't want to do this because you're so full of self-hate and everything, you want to sabotage what we're doing, you just try it. Because one day the BAO and what we're doing is going to be so powerful that government's going to come to us. They're already right now, they're curious. But one day we're going to be so organized. We're going to have so many powerful people in the United States and throughout the diaspora with us and whatnot, ready to go. And I already got the people. But day's going to come where you're going to see people from all walks of life and all high positions and whatnot coming and saying, yeah, how can I participate in this? Investors, builders, scientists, and all these other people. This is a brain trust I'm talking about. So this is what I'm doing, the brain trust. I need smart people. We need the brain trust with us. Once we're organized and we got institutions and everything, and people know that they can plug into our best minds in America and the diaspora, yeah, we're going to be able to do this. All right, but that's all I got to say tonight, Bomani.
Yes, Kala. What a beautiful night, man. You take care, family, and we're gonna
We was promised the show.
Beautiful music.
We'll be back on. Saturday night.
Yeah, we'd have to talk about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Saturday night.
Yeah, you know, it is. Tell people that.
Yeah, I know.
So, you know, we're looking for some serious people to connect and join with us. You know, so we can just keep things moving.
We want the brain trust, folks. We want the brain trust.
Let's close out with some nice music.
Oh yeah.
It was the year 1957. The African Republic of Ghana regained her independence from colonial forces under the careful leadership of the Honorable Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Blessed by His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie, Kadamawi, Kadamawi, Kadamawi. Hey, hey!
Return to the roots. Come get your truths and your blessing, son. Go forward. A message and a lesson. Return to the roots. Come get your truths and your blessing. United we stand, and we standing strong. From the examples of Ghana. Got to be working together. Black star, black generation. Ice, gold and green. Life, color, life, liberation. There can have been cross. Symbols from creation. It was a sun, called the bird. A message and a lesson. Return to the roots. Come get your truth and your blessing. Sun, cover, bird. A message in the lesson. Return to the roots. Connect your truths and your blessing. Return to your roots and get your blessing. Return to your roots and get your blessing. Return to the roots and get your blessing. Return to the roots and get your blessing. The call and response. Rhythms of djembe and kete. Sounding far and distance. Regenerating vibration. From corner to curb. The million voices are heard. Ahoy, 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 ahoy. It was a sun for bird. A message in the lesson. Return to the roots. Connect your truths and your blessing. Sun for bird. A message in the lesson. Return to the roots. Connect your truths and your blessing. Return to your roots and get your blessing. Return to your roots and get your blessing. Return to the roots and get your blessing. You must return to your roots and get your